Hello, YouTubers, gamers, all around the world. Welcome back. I'm your host, Nasty888, and today I have another How to Play FFA for you guys. Today, we're actually going to be going over a replay of a game from my live stream. So I wasn't able to find this video or this replay, unfortunately, in the game. I've been away for a week or two. I just got back from the holidays here is what we're dealing with, and I haven't played for over a week. This game was played previously, so I wanted to showcase a game for you guys on Malians to kind of figure things out. And in this game, I know I've done a lot of like sofa games, spamming games in the past on Malians. So if you want that kind of a game to to learn about how to play Malians, you could watch that and research what I'm doing there. In this case, I'm going to be talking. I chose this game specifically because it's not one of those games. It's actually going with Farimba Garrison, which is some changes have been made, and it's a very useful landmark now. So that's why I wanted to showcase it. So, anyways, let's get started into the game here. Sorry for everything's been muted, guys. We're just watching my the replay of me live streaming. We'll probably skip through things. So if you guys just want to watch, the live version of this, if you're just interested in the playthrough, you can go ahead and do that. I'll post that as well, which is what you're seeing here. While I'm just casting from the replay, my recorded file of the game, right? So when you spawn off as Malians, of course, you want to look for wood's going to be a big priority, obviously. But in this case, we found a river as well, so we're going to be hoping to get some fish here and get some river boats out, which will be great. Of course, you want to consider throwing down your your quarry right away on the gold, so you can just start getting free gold income. You won't have to mine any gold at all, really, until probably feudal age at least. So as far as placement goes, obviously you don't want to be close to other players like I am here in this case. Unfortunately, another player spawned next to us, but it's too late. We're not going to cancel or anything. We're just going to accept it and accept that this player is going to have to be, we're going to have to prioritize pressuring this player, limiting his resources. We're in actually kind of an advantageous position in a way where he's stuck against the corner of the map and we are a little further out. So as long as there's no other player on our other side, we're going to be able to, kind of box him in, as they say, right? And deny resources. That's what we want to do here. Make it easier for ourselves to deal with him. So let's go ahead and speed things up. I'm doing my typical water opener, which is 5 on wood, and then you get about 4 or 5 on villagers on the water here, and you can see we're already getting our gold income because we've already built our little quarry on the gold, and now we're going to start putting farms down there. So we're kind of delaying our docks here. We have to spend our early wood. You can go either way. You can go fast docks if you want, but you have to remember that you're going to be real behind on gold if you do that. So in this case, I'm glad that I didn't, because there is no gold that's very close to me for me to mine. It's only stone right next to me, so that's not going to be the best as far as getting to age up, right? So fortunately, we've done, I think, this in the proper order here, and delayed our fishing ships a little bit, and we're gonna go ahead and get into things. I'm trying to throw down as many, the little villages or whatever they're called. The houses, I guess. I don't know what I thought they had different name for mountains, but no, I guess they don't. They're actually just called houses, like every other civ. Um, little huts, little hut houses. So we're trying to get that to increase our gold income. We can just sit on that gold income, right? Because we know that that's going to be useful, even though we can't really spend it yet. We can definitely take advantage of it once we get to age 2. And so we're just kind of scout out this guy here, see what's going on like next to us, and see what he's trying to do. If there's anything we can do, we're a little worried about, of course, the stealth forest right here. next to us. We don't want to get like, have him start throwing up outposts and trying to deny us. I mean, he can't really do much because we're very close to our town center, so we're not too worried about it. But once we break through that tree line, it might be a bigger issue here. We've maxed out our, but we decided, like you always want to have to be able to mine some gold in case you want it. So we're going to put a mining camp there for the last one instead of a house, which is correct. We've gone for one dock so far, but we have a lot on wood, so we might be able to do more than that. I'm using my king here to scout, which is kind of risky, guys. If you're not as experienced as me, I don't recommend doing this. But sometimes when you're really close to someone, you can't really see what's going on the other side, or if you need to send some vills out to mine, some resources. It's nice to keep your king out there to get vision, just because it'll allow you to see if they're trying to throw up an outpost all of a sudden on you, and it'll just give you more vision of what's going on there. But you can be surrounded with your king. You have to be careful. The reason it's not going to work in this case is because we're staying close to our town center. So if we need to, we can retreat to the town center, and we should be okay as long as we don't get completely caught out there. Anyways, just keep, we're going to go ahead and get our wheelbarrow really quick here because we realize our age up isn't going to happen just yet. It's going to take a little bit longer. So we might as well spend some of that gold, even though, we're building a lot of fishing boats here. Wheelbarrow is, of course, going to be quite useful whenever you're moving your bills around from resource node to resource node, which is what we might end up having to be doing here. So let's skip ahead to age 2 because that's going to be the important next decision, I believe, that we make here. So we decided to wall this off here. I think I saw, was there somebody over there? Is that why? I didn't know what was over there. I just decided to wall it off in case there's a player on that side of the river. It's nice just to zone that out. And now I have a little problem here. You can see we're kind of suffering because his town centers are close to my tree line. So we decided to move all our vills before we lose any vills, which is probably what you want to do. You really don't want to lose vills this early on. We'll move our lumber camp up here, but we need to protect that. We need vision up there. Fortunately, there's not too many stealth forests too close by, but we're going for the quarry here, which is so what happened here is you usually want to go for the quarry. That's like the go-to landmark if you're not near anybody. I am near somebody, but before I talk about that, let's take a look. You can see the way I positioned my town center here was really nice. We were able to deny this player from building attack ships and moving and harassing our fishing line because we positioned our town center so close to the water line that he can't actually harass our boats up here, which is great. And we can kind of zone him in. He can't fish very far up, so fishing's not really going to be all that useful for him for very long, right? Now, anyways, back to what I was talking about, the landmarks. You can go for the trade network here if you want. If you're close to another player, it's a good defensive landmark. If you're surrounded by other players, I wasn't surrounded. I had the top free, and I'm surrounding my opponent. But if there was like a resource node to be denied here, it could have been an option to go for the trade network, like down here maybe. It might have been a good spot for it, but yeah, it could have maybe it could have denied that goal, but it's so close to his town center, it would have been difficult to make it work. And if I did build it that close, his town center will also be shooting at my quarry. So, I mean, it was kind of a tactical decision here. You could try it if you want, especially if his resources are a little farther away, or if I had found resources on top of his base there that he needed to access. That would definitely be a priority to just, like, say there was some food up here. We could have actually built the quarry here to protect ourselves, or the trade network to protect ourselves, rather. But for now, we're just actually going to open 2 town center. This is a little bit greedy next to another player, but I feel like I've denied him off of enough resources here that he's really struggling. He's going to have to I think he's going to have to do probably a farm transition to even get food here because of, I don't know why my king is actually going down there. That is very risky now to be sending my king all the way down to the bottom of the map for whatever reason. Let's just put him back in the town center. I think I misclicked there. Now, I am taking these, getting more gold up here. Fortunately, there doesn't seem to be any players. I haven't really scouted, as you can see, which it's nice to do when you have a fishing economy. Is you just skip the scout and you can you don't really need to bother because you don't care about gathering sheep so much. But you can see I'm starting to build. I've used my town center offensively to zone this guy, and now I'm going to start encroaching and trying to surround his base with outposts and vision, so that he's unable to do anything. And as you can see, he can't really do a whole lot here. He might be kind of a newer player, and we've been able to. He's not even trying to deny my outpost, which he could send some vills here, which. But the problem is that they're in range of my town center as well. So if I get vision of them, they'll actually, my town center will actually attack them as well. So he's going to be really struggling here, as you can see. He's trying to build his bird cave. Actually, looks like he's got enough resources to go to H3. So unfortunately, we're going to be dealing with that. Ideally, we would have denied him that much, but we really couldn't deny him golden food because you can just get the farms and there's plenty of trees around. But as it is, we're already aging up as well. We're going Farimba, of course, as I mentioned. We're on water. We have a pretty good, economy already. If we weren't next to another player that we had to fight right away, we could probably have gotten away with doing our cow boom and going with the other landmark. But whenever you want to fight somebody or have to fight somebody early on, you definitely want to go with this Farimba if you don't have time for a cow boom or whatever it is. Plus you get nicer units, right? Like you get the Mansa version of the units, which I believe is just a stronger version, and it's gonna pay off throughout the game. Your cow boom, of course, will too economically pay off throughout the game, but you can do a cow boom without the landmark, right? It's just going to be a little bit less effective. And if you already have a pretty solid fishing economy, you don't need to worry as much about it, right? And if we're going into horsemen, of course, we're going to sofas, we're going into scout warriors. It's really nice to have a lot of extra food. But if you're planning on making infantry like we are here, this landmark is definitely you definitely get away with a lot more because you don't need as much food, right? Without cavalry. So one of the struggles I'll talk about real quick with Malians is I'm getting all these gold, uh, I guess all your gold income, your free gold income set up, right? Because if you're having to build these, all these houses around gold mines throughout the map, you're going to be struggling with other players harassing them. So you want to try to go for the ones that one have more slots around them, but two are closer to your base. In this case, we just blindly made them forward because we didn't really have much of a choice. But if you don't want to play that greedy, you don't have to. You can just mine gold with the vills that you need mining gold, and you can kind of, you just get less of an income, right? So it's kind of a problem. Late game, it's very challenging as well because if those gold mines run out and then the quarries on the gold mines are destroyed, then you will never be able to get those again. And if you don't have enough gold veins secured around your base, this is one of the advantages and why you kind of want to consider walling as Malians too, is you want to be able to keep that free gold income throughout the game. It can be nice if the game is going to run on really long, which not a lot of FFAs do, but some do. So you want to be cognizant of that. So you can see the Burgrave starting to come through. Our opponent is, he's going crazy with men at arms, and we don't really have a crossbow, right, as Malians. So what you do is use the poison arrow archer is basically your crossbow in this case, and the javelin throwers too can help, but they're more they're not really going to be piercing armor. They're better against ranged units. But the archer with the poison arrow is definitely what you want to kind of mass here, and you can see that we're doing that. We could also just make our own Musafati warriors, which would be decent to at least tank these units and fight them head on. But HRE men at arms a little bit, like 1-to-1, they're a bit stronger. So I'm trying to just play defensively here until I get a mass of units out. Because I know my opponent, he's pretty neutered, right? Like unless he has vills up on all the way up like the side of the map there, where he's gathering resources, he's probably not been able to get many access to many resources here, and he's going to be struggling a lot for food. Um, and he's way we know he's way behind because we saw his farm transition. We saw he didn't have any food while we were on water this whole time, so we know we're stronger, and we just want to like we want to on one hand we want to kill quickly. I just want to make sure that he can't go like an L's back in front in my face or a keep or something like that. Is really what I want to deny because I know his army is going to be small. He doesn't have enough economy to make enough units out of that Burgave. And now we can see we're throwing down a keep, maybe a little bit greedily here, but we've decided that we've had enough of this player, and we want to just run him over now, and that's what we're trying to do here. We figure if we can get rid of him, then we should be able to just sit back and focus more on our economy and our tech age up to H4 without having to constantly deal with this problem this headache that we're dealing with here in the south. So our opponent fortunately wasn't very good, and he kind of didn't handle that fight very well micro-wise. He just kind of sent all his units in to die. He didn't pull any vills to help with anything, so he's just kind of got to keep in his base now. And yeah, right as he finally gets past my town center with his attack boat there, he just finally gives up, realizing he has lost. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna sit back. We got the kill that we wanted, right? But now we want to like assess the game state. Maybe we'll do a king check. We haven't done that yet, unfortunately. A little bit slow on that. I guess I've been so focused on this player, I haven't really checked what's going on. There we go. We did the king check now that we're thinking about that. We see orange is actually pretty close to us. And we already have some units out. So we see that orange here. He's an H3 player. And we realize, okay, he's in H3. It's pretty late in the game for him to still be in H3 and be all by himself alone. So we're a little bit surprised to see that. I would have typically expected if he hadn't fought anybody. I think he did actually fight. We saw him get a kill earlier, I believe. So that's probably the reason why he's in H3, I think. And so we know that he might be a threat. So we're just going to sit back here, try to eco up, and try to poke and scout and see what's going on in Orange's base. So if he had an H4 already, we would probably expect it to be a Swabia if he was all alone over there. But fortunately for us, we don't have to worry about him booming too hard because he hasn't gotten to H4. So we know that's not going to be something that we need to pressure right away. Let's, as we expand our territory, we're starting to transition into farms. We realize we're on river, of course. This isn't going to last forever, but it looks like it's lasting better than we expected. We are poking out to see. We want to see what Orange has. We see, okay, he does have the big army that I expected because he's still in H3, and we're going to back up. If he wants to attack into us, knock yourself out. We'll have defender's advantage. We'll have our base defenses and stuff. So we're going to start, making units just to be safe here. We're not close to max, but we have a strong army here. So if this player decides that he wants to fight us, that's fine. It's going to be, not ideal, of course, for us to both be wasting our resources in an H3 fight when there's players who are probably going to be thinking about H4 very soon. Like we see Teal on the top side of the map, who's all alone. He should probably already be H4, so we'll see if that happens soon. Now we're adding a bunch of barracks and stables barracks and archery ranges because we think that it looks like Orange still isn't aging up. He's just massing army, so we need to do the same, right? We need to match him blow for blow. We've already had to take a fight that went on a bit longer than his, so we know that we were able to eco up successfully though on this river. We know our economy's strong. If we just make enough units, we should be able to be just fine here. Now I've decided I kind of want to put some pressure on. Maybe this isn't the best decision to build the rams, but we do see he has the same idea as us. I was thinking he was going to attack me, and he does. But we want to keep some pressure on him. If I just let him get to Swabia, right, he's going to start booming and catching up, and I'd rather not let him do that. So we're going to keep the pressure on here. I feel once I get rid of orange, things are looking pretty good elsewhere on the map, even though blue has just killed red. A lot of the other players in this lobby are very far, far away from us. So once we clear, if we can make some space for ourselves here, if we can clear orange off the side of the map, then we should be very strong in order to kind of secure some space for ourselves here. We can see that our fishing is still. Luckily, we had some like forks in the river, and it seems that not a lot of other players were around here fishing, so our fishing economy is going to stay actually pretty decent throughout this game. Now we're poking here. We see he still hasn't aged up, so we know things are looking good. We could fight here. I'm not sure if we're going to, but I think we are, because we're really dumping army. So we know our army's stronger. Our economy should be better. We don't know how many relics this player has. That's the one thing I think we had to consider. And we do see now there's a few relics in the field, at least 3 relics in play. So that's unfortunate to see that he has a decent number of relics. But we're just going to commit on. We know we have all these ranged units, all these archers and javelin throwers, so we can easily snipe this Wololo attempt. And we see that our army is just kind of overrunning orange. So the only thing I have to worry about here now is, of course, is the king donation, which we'll see if that comes into play. You can see my units. The ranged nerf is pretty significant on the mango, but we're still able to snipe it. But fortunately, the player just surrenders. We don't have to worry about the king retreat, and now we're gonna pick up our second kill in this game, which secures us for the end game. Which means we can definitely focus on H4 now. And we can see now that the other players are in H4, so we can breathe a sigh of relief that we're looking good here. We have some relics we've taken out. We can claim. We can kind of sit back and see if these two players are going to fight each other, which is what we hope. They haven't noticed. Hopefully that hopefully they both haven't noticed that we picked up 2 kills. Otherwise, they might decide to team on us. But it's kind of hard. You can see Teal is so far away from us that there just really isn't a lot of options there for him. And we can start to move up the river and see what's going on up here. Get some more fishing and maybe even send some attack boats down the river could be an option. We do have a bunch of relics though, like I mentioned, so we can, if our gold income is already not great enough, which as you can see, we have a bunch of 4K banked, we're doing great. We've got all the, no one's harassed. Our quarries, this is a perfect game for us. We've even got cows starting to boom now to support our food income, which we need. You can see even with some farms supplementing our fishing, it's the boats are having to go farther and farther upstream now, and that's not going to last forever. It might last for a while more, but you can see we're just spending all of our food, and we've had trouble even getting enough food for H4 here. But we've decided to go in this case for the I think we're gonna go Griot Barra, yeah. So these days you can do either one really. I think even with this, there's more of an argument for the fortress here in this case to protect the king and to give us grant our Musafati warriors a little bit of extra oomph when they come out of stealth. But the thing is, the torch damage is still really nice, even if you're not doing the Sofa spam. Having extra torch damage for your melee units when you're trying to burn down a building to snipe a king is always very useful. So that's why we decided to go for it here. I think that's one decision I made in this game that might be wrong. I think that might be it. I think I really need more protection for my king. I could have thrown up a fortress down here. I decided I want to build it separate from my other landmarks, so if someone comes through and tries to snipe all my landmarks, they're not going to find it right away, which is what you definitely want to do when you think about throwing down your last landmark. If your first 3 are all clustered, make sure you throw your 4th one down somewhere else, right in the back, where you can wall it in easier. We see that blue up there has a bunch of elephants. He's a Delhi player in H4. Both our opponents now, of course, in H4. But we see that blue's landmark has been destroyed. So that's our cue that we want to start thinking about pushing up there, seeing what's going on. Because if one player is losing, we want to either try to take their king or we want to try to help them out and keep them in the fight longer, so that these players keep fighting each other, and it allows us to build up and build up and build up and become incredibly powerful. Now we're in age 4, and we're able to really start get some great upgrades. We're getting all of our upgrades for our infantry and our archers. It's going to be great. We're picking up these relics that I mentioned we need. And we kept our army back for a while to defend our base. Right now we're a little bit vulnerable, guys. One mistake here you'll see is that I'm moving my army up. Though I wouldn't call it a mistake. In this case, it's the game knowledge. Because we saw the landmark snap, we know these players are fighting each other, and there's really not a huge risk to our king right now. But we have moved our army forward, so basically somebody could come around from the side, right, and snipe my king or landmarks or something like that, right? I'm not too worried about it though. One reason I'm not too worried about it is I have a keep near my town center. Another reason is I have a river near my town center, which I can evacuate the king in a transport boat if needed. And the third reason, of course, I already mentioned, which is that these players are fighting. And as I suspected what would happen here, is when Blue saw my army, he would surrender, because he's already, I think, been losing this fight with Teal, and now he has to fight another large army, and he's going to realize, okay, I can't fight this. So you want to think about your opponent's mindset and kind of predict what they're going to do in certain situations, and I predicted correctly, fortunately. But he could have run his king, towards Teal, but I didn't really care if he did that. The reason being, I think Teal only has 1 kill, and I have 2 already. So if he did that, it wouldn't be the end of the world. We could still probably fight Teal somewhat successfully here. But Teal is Ottomans, and Ottomans aren't the best in free for all. So, they do have some strengths, which are free units, but aside from that, we're not too worried about them. Now that we've gotten up to 300, 350 pop cap, we have to be careful. See, I moved forward with these units here to kind of poke at Teal. I figured he'd been fighting Blue, and I wanted to see if he was weak. But I also am weak here because I'm nowhere near my pop cap. And you can see that this engagement ends up being a disaster for me. Realizing he has got a bunch of Janissaries in siege, I'm losing a lot of units. So I pushed up a little bit prematurely there. We could have sent some scouts forward. Probably would have been the better play. But now that we see his army composition, we can kind of make some adjustments to our own to try to deal with them. We are setting up shop for our king to be walled in back here in case. It doesn't look like Teal's army is going to be something that we have to worry about that kind of thing happening. He's going for a siege-based army. But you can see, even though I thought I was losing that fight, I just decided to take the trades anyways, and we kind of barely won it or traded evenly. And that's a big part of that is probably because we did go for the Farimba garrison and we got our stronger units. I believe I chose the Musafati warrior and the Mansa javelineer. Yeah, so we got the javelineer. I don't know, maybe you could do the freeborn warrior too, but I figured 1 melee unit is probably enough. The freeborn warrior unit I've experimented a bit with, and it is good against range, very good against range units. So probably would have been pretty effective against the Janissaries here. So I could have gone for that option, but in this case, I already had invested a bunch into javelineers, and we just decided to, since we already had that technology, we would just keep investing in it. But it's up to you guys what you want to do. I would definitely recommend always getting the Musafati probably as the first one in most cases. But you can definitely test out the freeborn. I in my experience in the past, they haven't been as good as I'd kind of hoped they were, at least in the games that I've played. But we definitely need more testing on that, so we'll be doing that for sure. And yeah, so this game we're starting to ramp up. We really just need to hit our pop cap here before we go looking for more fights. We know that's our advantage over our opponent. We don't want to mess that up. The only thing we could do wrong here is kind of fight too early with not enough. We see our opponent's coming for us, so we're going to back it up and just kind of regroup and get a huge army together. We know that our opponent also traded pretty evenly with us, so we figure that he's probably going to have a similar size army to us, whatever we're fielding. And but if we delay the fight longer, then we can exploit our population cap, and we could easily win, right? So we're going to get our elite army tactics here as a priority, and of course our ranged upgrades for all of our archers and javelineers. Is that what they're called? Javelineers. That's kind of silly. Javeliners, I guess. Not javelineers, right? Sorry guys, I've been sick this week. I had a flu, so sorry if my voice is a little bit shot doing this cast, doing this how to play. It's been a rough week for me, guys. I've been pretty. I've definitely got something. I don't know if it was food poisoning or the flu, or both, but it was not good. So we're still in recovery mode here, but I wanted to get back on it. We're almost caught up to the games that we have uploaded, so we might run out of legway on once a day videos that I've been the goal that I set for myself here. So hopefully we don't, but and hopefully we can get through all the civs in this series that I'm doing. So anyways, let's take a look. Okay, so I can't really see. The problem is I can't really see anything in the stealth forest, but I figure maybe he can't either if he doesn't have a scout. So we could take a gamble and try to charge in there. And we see all the bombards are free. And indeed, he does not have a scout, and we have a much larger army. And our opponent is calling GG. So it's looking pretty good for us, guys. You can see the power of the Farimba garrison is pretty strong. If you have the economy to back it up, and if you can mass units, Malians are really good at massing just huge balls of infantry and ranged units. You can see they just kind of overrun everything. They're pretty strong right now. Since the patch, since this update to the Farimba, it's been pretty nice to see Malians being able to do something besides just spam sofas and free for all. I will say they're definitely more fun to play now. So hopefully you guys will want to get out there and play them as I have, and try some new tactics out. Experiment with these new upgraded units. So we're trying to take the sacred side. We just want to pressure our opponent in as many ways as possible, right? We want to take the sacreds, increase our income, our gold income, keep expanding across, and just pressure them constantly, right? Like it looks like we're winning pretty handily here. Our opponent has fallen back and retreated. We found some, there's a bunch of more relics in the middle here that we might have access to. So we're going to try to get those, or that we've missed earlier, I guess. But yeah, we don't really need them at this point, but more is always better, right? You never want to assume you've won and just start autopiloting, or just start making assumptions. That's how I've lost. I think that's how a lot of people lose games that they've won. I've beaten people that I shouldn't have. I've lost games I shouldn't have. It happens a lot more than you think, especially in free for all, when you underestimate your opponent, or they underestimate you. And there's lots of sneaky strategies, with all these victory conditions, with the king in the monarch mode. There's a lot of things you gotta keep in consideration. But a lot of times you just want to put pressure up, make your opponent worried. Exploit their weaknesses, basically. If you're defeating them on the field, you just keep pushing them, and just never giving them a break is always a good strategy. In this case, I'm still struggling with my supply cap here, like I mentioned before. But I think our opponent, he was struggling too. Looks like he maybe didn't get a very high supply cap, or he just didn't have the best economy to back this up. Ottoman economy always struggles a bit. But we do have to be careful now, right? Attacking into Ottoman, they do have a very good new Vizier Point upgrade that I've talked about before for defensive purposes, that makes their garrisoning very strong. So we do want to be a little bit careful here. We see some keeps are now in play for him up here. And we're going to be sending some units around the map, getting our own horses, because we want some more mobility here just to see what's going on. And make sure we're not going to get blindsided by anything, get some more vision of the map, kind of just take over it, like kind of like in StarCraft when you're playing the Zerg, you're spreading your creep all over the map, your overlords. That's kind of how I like to play, the late game here, is just send scouts in every direction, see what's up, where are the resources, is your opponent gathering resources on the map, is he setting up for a flank attack, is he building production buildings in a corner of the map, something like that. Definitely something you need to watch out for, as every civilization in free-for-all, right? So you want to just know what's going on. You can build, whether you build towers all over the place, or whether you just send scouts around like I'm doing, really up to you, depending on the situation. In this situation, I'm not going to worry too much about building walls, though I probably could. I see that my opponent seems to be, kind of weak. He seems to be gathering resources on the map that are unprotected, not really trying anything too sneaky. And he just, I think I can run him over. Now I'm maxed at 350, which is a lot. I know it's more than my opponent has. I think he has 250 probably. At most 300, but I don't even think he has that. So we will see. Now I'm pushing as I take the sacred sites, pushing forward into his base. I think we'll be attacking soon with these rams, trying to push through. But now that we have a little bit of a bank and we're completely supply capped, we are free to do that because we want to start taking trades against our opponent. There's no need not to at this point, right? Like, we're maxed, we can't get any more, and we can instantly remake some army. So I feel confident as long as our armies trade well enough that we're going to be doing good here. We do have the problem of his his keeps here. I don't know why he's built these keeps in this particular location. I guess it was to secure resources maybe. But his army isn't here, which I've noticed, so I've decided to go ahead and push through and fight directly into this, which would have been a lot harder to do if he decided to defend at this location, but he didn't. I guess it makes me think that his army is either somewhere else. But we do notice that the wonder goes down. He did actually have a lot of better economy than I assumed in this game. He was very, I guess, eco-heavy, you could say. And he was low on army supply and decided to gather all the resources up for a wonder. But at this point, I'm not actually too worried about that. I'm like, okay, you've gathered up enough for a wonder, so what? I know my army's been stronger than you. If you just spent all your resources on a wonder, that means you're going to have less for reinforcements. You might try to go like all army supply if you really have that many resources, but I don't think there's been enough time in this game for him to gather like a ridiculous amount of resources. It's only 40 minutes into the game, right? And he's Ottoman, so maybe he's only been making free units, so he could have a decent amount. But really, like, I'm not too stressed. I think I can take sacreds, I can undercut him there, and I can just push his wonder. I don't need to worry about him going, 0 villagers and maxing out on a huge army at this early on, at this time point in the game. It's not really that likely that he's going to be able to eco that hard. And now we see his army is here, and it's this is going to be we're going to have to attack into this wall here and he has a lot of bombards, but you can notice that they're not garrisoned. He didn't, for whatever reason, didn't get the vizier point to upgrade them, or he didn't bother to station units in them. So we're a little bit less concerned than we would normally be seeing that many great bombards, which is nice. I don't know why maybe our opponent didn't realize that upgrade was going to be important, or that he would have to use a bunch of great bombards. But with the supply cap I have, even though my army would normally be getting rolled over by that probably, regardless of having that vizier point, just because of the sheer size of my army, it's not going to really impact it as much as it normally would, right? So we decide to take the trade, and our opponent realizes it too right as we attack, and like, oh, that's a big army, right? So a lot of times players will ask you what your pop is when they're getting destroyed by you. Since I'm confident in my win here, I've decided to be honest and tell him you don't have to. Sometimes it's nice or sometimes it's better not to reveal your true pop even in a 1v1 situation, because you don't want to give that knowledge to your opponent and have them play around it. In this case, I'm not worried about it at this point. We are cleaning up the siege, and we are going to take this game, it looks like. So that's pretty much it, guys. Our opponent has surrendered, and yeah, hope you enjoyed this this how to play Malian, and got to showcase some of the powerful units that are now being used by the Civ, and hopefully it'll encourage you guys to try to, if you haven't played Malians before and you want to try them, or you want to try them since they've been changed, this is a nice way to do it. But anyways, that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Catch you in the next one. Peace.